Lebanon, Republic of Lebanon. Country profile. Total area 4,036 square miles. Population 2022 estimated 5,296,814. Density 1,450 square miles. Location Middle East, bordering the Mediterranean Sea, between Israel and Syria. Land boundaries total 484 kilometers. Border countries to Israel 81 kilometers. Syria 403 kilometers. Coastline 225 kilometers. Climate Mediterranean, mild to cool wet winters, with hot dry summers. The Lebanon mountains experience heavy winter snows. Terrain narrow coastal plain. El Bekaa Valley separates Lebanon and Anti-Lebanon mountains. Highest point Cornet Es Sauda 3088 meters. Lebanon is the smallest country in continental Asia. Nahr el Litani is the only major river in Near East not crossing an international boundary. Rugged terrain historically helped isolate, protect, and develop numerous factional groups based on religion, clan, and ethnicity. Population distribution. The majority of the people live on or near the Mediterranean coast, and of these most live in and around the capital, Beirut. Favorable growing conditions in the Bekaa Valley have attracted farmers, and thus the area exhibits a smaller population density. Population 5,331,200. 32023. Ethnic groups Arab 95%, Armenian 4%, other 1. Note: many Christian Lebanese do not identify themselves as Arab but rather as descendants of the ancient Canaanites and prefer to be called Phoenicians. Languages Arabic official, French, English, Armenian. Religions Muslim 67.8%, Christian 32.4%. Maronite Catholics are the largest Christian group, Jews 4.5%, very small numbers of Jews, Baha'is and Buddhists 2020. This data do not include sizable Syrian and Palestinian refugee populations, though 18 religious sects are recognized. Urban population 89.4% of total population 2023. Major urban areas 2.421 million. Beirut, capital 2023. Current health expenditure 8% of GDP 2020. Education expenditures 1.9% of GDP 2020. Literacy total population 95.1%. Lebanon etymology derives from the Semitic root Lbn meaning white and refers to snow-capped Mount Lebanon. Capital name Beirut. Etymology derived from the Canaanite or Phoenician word Beirut, meaning the wells or fountain, which referred to accessible water tower. United Nations World Heritage Sites 5. Selected World Heritage Site locales Anja, Baalbek, Byblos, Tyre, Wadi Kadisha, the Holy Valley and the Forest of the Cedars of God. Porsche ARZEL Rab. Economy Review. Real GDP purchasing power parity $99.288 billion to 2019. Real GDP per capita $17,200 to 2019. GDP official exchange rate 53 to 53 billion to 2019. Lebanon, on the eastern shore of the Mediterranean Sea, consists of a narrow strip of territory and is one of the world's smaller sovereign states. Lebanon mountain range, extending almost the entire length of Lebanon, paralleling the Mediterranean coast for about 150 miles to 40 kilometers. Anti-Lebanon mountains range that runs northeast-southwest along the Syrian-Lebanese border parallel to the Lebanon mountains from which they are separated by the Bekaa Valley. And River Lebanon, chief river of Lebanon, rising in a low divide west of Baalbek and flowing southwestward through the Bekaa Valley between the Lebanon and Syria. Orontes River Asia in southwestern Asia, draining a large part of the northern Levant into the Mediterranean Sea. From its source in Bekaa Valley, after the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire, Lebanon came under the mandate to be administered by France. However, French rule over the region weakened significantly in the aftermath of the German invasion of France in 1940. By 1943, Lebanon gained independence from France and subsequently established confessionalist government, with the religious groups being apportioned political powers. The new Lebanese state was relatively stable after independence, but this was ultimately shattered by the outbreak of large-scale fighting in the Lebanese Civil War from 1975 to 1990 between various political and sectarian factions. Amidst the internal hostilities, Lebanon was also subjugated by two overlapping military occupations, by Syria from 1976 to 2005 and by Israel from 1985 to 2000. Since the end of the conflict, there have been extensive efforts to revive the economy and rebuild national infrastructure. Conflict between Israel and Lebanese militants continued, leading to a series of violent events and clashes, including the Q&A massacre. In May 2000, Israeli forces fully withdrew from Lebanon. Since then, 25 May is regarded by the Lebanese as the Liberation Day. The internal political situation in Lebanon significantly changed after the Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon and the death of President Hafez al-Assad in 2000. On February 14, 2005, former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri was assassinated. Syria and the March 8 Alliance claimed that Israel was behind the assassination. The Hariri assassination marked the beginning of a series of assassinations of the prominent Lebanese figures. The assassination triggered the Cedar Revolution, a series of demonstrations which demanded the withdrawal of Syria. Under pressure, Syria began withdrawing, and by April 26, 2005, all Syrian soldiers had returned to Syria. On July 12, 2006, Hezbollah launched rocket attacks into Israeli territory, where they killed 3 Israeli soldiers and captured 2 others. Israel started airstrikes and artillery fire in Lebanon and a ground invasion resulting in the 2006 Lebanon War. The conflict was officially ended by the UNSC Resolution 1701 on August 14, 2006, which ordered a ceasefire, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Lebanon. Some 1,191 Lebanese and 160 Israelis were killed in the conflict. Beirut was heavily damaged by Israeli airstrikes. On May 9, 2008, Hezbollah and Amal forces, sparked by a government declaration, seized western Beirut, the most important Sunni center in Lebanon, leading to an intra-state military conflict. On May 21, 2008, the signing of the Doha Agreement ended the fighting. As part of the accord, Michael Suleiman became president and a national unity government was established, granting a veto to the opposition. The agreement was a victory for opposition forces, as the government caved into all their main demands. On August 4, 2020, an explosion at the port of Beirut, Lebanon's main port, destroyed the surrounding areas, killing over 200 people and injuring thousands more. Protests started within days following the explosion. Protest resulted in the resignation of Prime Minister Hassan Diab and his cabinet on August 10, 2020, nonetheless continuing to stay in office in a caretaker capacity till August 2021, when former Prime Minister Najib Mikati formed his cabinet. By January 2022, the crisis in Lebanon had deepened further, with the value of the Lebanese pound plummeting and a scheduled general election ultimately held in May 2022, first election since a painful economic crisis dragged it to the brink of becoming a failed state. Lebanon's crisis has been so severe that more than 80% of the population is now considered poor by the United Nations. The Sunni Future Movement, led by former Prime Minister Saad Hariri, did not participate the election, leaving a political vacuum. February 2023, the Central Bank of Lebanon devalued the Lebanese pound by 90% amid the ongoing financial crisis. This was the first time Lebanon had devalued its official exchange rate in 25 years.